Assalamu alaikum. Honorable Justice Sardar Tariq Masood Sahab, my distinguished colleagues, Honorable Mansoor Usman Awan Sahab, the Attorney General of Pakistan, Honorable Riyazat Ali Sahib Sahab, Vice Chairman Pakistan Bar Council, and Honorable Muhammad Shahzad Shaukat Sahab, the President of the Supreme Court Bar Association. I have not written a speech. I would like to speak from the heart. My very honorable and distinguished colleague who's retiring, not today, but on the 11th of March, when it will be his 65th birthday, mentioned that his first encounter with the English language was in the 6th class. My first encounter with him was when I, as the Chief Justice of Balochistan, was attending a conference, and it was an international conference, and there were two entrances, one for foreign dignitaries and one for the rest of us. So the person at the gate said, "Sir, you come here." So the foreign dignitary on my right, he understood him with such a fair complexion that he couldn't possibly be a judge of the Supreme Court. And I thought he's a foreign dignitary. And then I later heard him speak in chaste Urdu. So I said, "Where did you learn Urdu?" That's my first encounter with him. And it has since been every encounter has been extremely pleasant. I did not know him before. Yes, he was from the district of Rawalpindi here, 1985. He became a counsel, then an advocate. Then he became an additional judge of the High Court, 1987. He contested the bar elections as well and won as president. Thereafter, sorry, I beg your pardon, then 87 he became an advocate of the High Court, and in the year 2009 he was appointed as an additional Lahore High Court judge, was confirmed, but unfortunately, though fully deserving of the position, did not become the Chief Justice of the Lahore High Court. The loss was of the province. The gain was of the Supreme Court when he was appointed on the 6th of November 2015 to the Supreme Court. He has performed, I would want to just dilate first on his judgments, a few judgments only. There are many of them. You've heard the figures, 13,000 plus. It embarrasses, I'm sure, not just me, but many of us. He was in between, he was not well, but despite that, he would say, "कितने केस लगाऊं? आप लगा दें 40-50 cases. आप कैसे handle करेंगे?" He himself encouraged the maximum number of cases are fixed before him because he felt for those who had not had their say in court, and he ensured that they should as soon as possible. I just want to refer to a few judgments of his. One is the famous judgment of Asfandiar versus Kamran in 2016, SCMR 2084, in which, these are judgments which held something new, that there's a provision in the Code of Criminal Procedure, Section 539B, to appoint a commission. And sometimes judges would appoint others as commission, and Sardar Sahib held that, and I'll quote, under Section 539B of the CRPC, the trial judge had no power to appoint another person to visit the place of occurrence as a commission, because the report submitted by local commission cannot be equated with the memorandum mentioned in subsection 1 of the provision. A trial judge can inspect the place of occurrence but alone, and he cannot delegate his powers. So this was something which had been left unattended. In the same judgment, he also commented upon the fact that some lawyers have stopped reading different provisions available in the code and just move an application under the omnibus section 561A. And he correctly noted that this is not an alternate or substitute for an express remedy that is provided in the law. And unless there isn't, then recourse should be made to this provision. This was in 2016, now we come closer in time. Another judgment is the Model Customs Collectorate of Islamabad versus Amir Mumtaz Qureshi, reported in 2022 SCMR 1861. And here his lordship dilated upon 249A and 265A of the Code of Civil Procedure to that rather than face a complete trial, these provisions can be availed of if there's nothing in evidence which may result in a conviction. However, if there's a possibility of a conviction, then recourse should not be had to these provisions. A few more, if I may just mention, that is more recent, 2023, the case of Amir Faraz versus the state, 2023 SCMR 308, where his lordship cancelled the bail of someone, because generally we have very rare precedents in this regard. And he noted that misusing the same by hampering the trial, as on numerous dates of hearing the prosecution witnesses appeared before the court, but their statements were not recorded on the request of the defense counsel, etc., and that he was misusing his concession of bail. So bail was cancelled in this case, which is a misuse on people file cancellation of bails. They forget the parameters, the narrow parameters within which this relief can be sought, and his lordship identified these as mention has been made of the narcotic cases. I will just mention another one here, and that is that when the best evidence is available to the prosecution, this is the case of Ahmad Ali versus the state, 2023 SCMR 781, and if it has been withheld for no good reason, then an adverse presumption will be drawn, and the benefit of that will go to the accused. One can go on and on, as all those who practice on the criminal side will know, that in fewer cases the law or something new is being said. So in civil cases you will find them all the time, but in criminal cases, because the principles are pretty well settled, or they just deal with the merits of the case and then really not attend to any legal point. But my distinguished colleague has always brought in the law in his judgments, which is useful not just for students of law and for lawyers, but also for his colleagues as well. Recently, mention was made of the Zulfikar Ali Bhutto reference case, which had been pending for a very long time. And one of the reasons which propelled me to fix it was that my colleague won't be with us for long, and he, more than anyone else on the bench, will be the greatest asset to ascertain the ins and outs and complexities of a criminal trial. So that was the reason which prompted it, and which at times I tried to hurry the case along as well, because I wanted his benefit of his elucidation of legal principles, which he provided, and how to attend to it. And we have attended to the matter and rendered our opinion to the President of Pakistan under our advisory jurisdiction. Another incident which many of you may not quite be aware of, and the role played behind the scenes, was after great, I won't say difficulty, but elections were announced And then some petition was filed in the Lahore High Court, and an order was passed which would have effectively derailed the elections and would have made it impossible for the elections to be held on the scheduled date that had been given by the President and the Election Commission of Pakistan. I was catching, this was when I had not taken a holiday for a long time, and I was visiting my ailing sister. And on that very day, we learned of this. We convened and we requested, it was in the evening of the 16th, the day, I think the next day was a holiday, was it earlier? It was end of December anyways, the holidays, the next day was a holiday. And the Attorney General was called for, and the matter was attended to. The court convened. At that time, the three senior, myself, Sardar Sahab and Ijaz Sahab, we had requested him to join us in the deliberation, but he declined. So therefore, we requested the next senior judge, Justice Mansoor Ali Shah, to be on the bench, and an order was passed which was signed with the assistance of my able colleagues on my left and right at 12 midnight. And so that also what could have derailed the elections did not take place, and the election went through. We have the case of, the first case which I heard as Chief Justice was the Supreme Court Practice and Procedure Act of 2023. He and I had earlier said that these should be heard first, which we did, and it was decided by the full court of this court, which I had the benefit of Sardar Saab's counsel. Then came the case of the trials by Army Court trials. Sardar Saab was heading the bench, but I think quite unnecessarily an objection was taken to his being on the bench, which was not justified, because for the reason that he had not expressed an opinion. He had simply stated earlier that if the matter is heard by 9 members, then where won't the either affected party lose a right of appeal? Which was a very fair observation. But this was used to seek his recusal, and he, without hesitation, which was, I think, not justified seeking his recusal, he recused himself from the bench, and that I think the appellants did not do a wise thing, because in him they would have had a very compassionate ear. In addition to the work of a judge, my colleague was also a very valuable member of the Judicial Commission of Pakistan. The Judicial Commission of Pakistan, as you know, recommends the appointment of judges. It has been pointed out by Mr. Riyazat Ali Sahar, as well as by Mr. Mohammad Shahzad Shaukat, the Vice Chairman and the President, that there are vacancies. We are very aware of it, but one thing after another, and the rules that have been drafted have not yet been, I will not use the word that Riyazat Saab used of being approved, have not been considered by the Judicial Commission of Pakistan, because we may not agree. So let us leave the word to be considered, and we'll certainly consider them soon. And I would like to move ahead with filling vacancies as soon as possible. It is also, I need to approve this with my colleagues, that maybe the time has come where we establish a separate secretariat for the Judicial Commission of Pakistan, because all the work falls on the shoulders of the registrar, which I think in itself, if the registrar attends to the daily work of a registrar, cannot, and other matters get sidetracked. So this is something we need to work on as well, that we will maybe create a separate secretariat, with the job of which will be the Secretary of the Judicial Commission of Pakistan, not Registrar ex officio Secretary of the Judicial Commission of Pakistan. He's also played a very valuable role on, now, as has been mentioned, I will not use the word that the powers of the Chief Justice have been reduced. They are now the burden is now being shared by a committee of 2 senior judges. And we had to, this was something very new. We had not done it before. It had never been done before. So the constitution of the committee, how to proceed, and we're trying to bring in as much transparency as possible. There are some matters which need not be disclosed to the general public. The others are put up whenever the committee meets on the Supreme Court website. We put what has transpired in the meetings of the committee. So there also we meet regularly, deciding various issues as are mentioned in the Supreme Court Practice and Procedure Act of 2023. Yet another very valuable function which was maybe has not been performed as regularly as it should have been performed is the work of the Supreme Judicial Council, where the senior puisne judge is also a very valuable member of. This is a painful task, but a necessary task. Painful because you are looking into the conduct of those who you have worked with or have known, but it is nonetheless required because the nation expects it of us, and this is one of our constitutional duties mentioned in the Constitution of Pakistan. So there are large number of complaints have been accumulated. Quite a few are quite frivolous, but they still have to be, someone has to actually read them. First, we refer it to a member of the Supreme Judicial Council who renders a tentative opinion which is placed before the Supreme Judicial Council. Just the convening of the Supreme Judicial Council is quite onerous as well, because whilst the 3 of us are here, 2 Chief Justices, the senior most, have to come to Islamabad. So that is not something which can be done very easily, and they leave their work. It's also a time factor and cost factor. All these things have to be considered. What one has been dismayed to note is, as far as criticism, I would leave alone fair comment on judgment. There can even be criticism of judgments. One has no issue with it. But to just abuse or make allegations without any foundations, and what can a judge do? For instance, I must, if with his permission, I hope Sardar Sahab doesn't mind, there was a complaint against him, and he wanted it to be because it had been widely publicized on the social media. And he says, nobody can hear my side of the story, so please proceed with this complaint. And when we did, the complaint was completely frivolous. Loan that was taken was shown by his lordship as an earnings, and that was order was procured by sending it to a place where Sardar Sahab had never resided. I mean, can you imagine an order of a officer of the income tax doesn't know who the person is, and notice could have been sent to the Supreme Court or to his residence in the judges' colony, but just to procure something for whatever reason, this malicious act was done. And we issued notices. I mean, of course, Sardar Sahab was not part of the proceedings now because it was a complaint against him. There was absolutely nothing in it, but not only that, we found it was false and malicious. And the person who was so eager on the social media has suddenly disappeared. Now, I don't want to say anything more because the matter is still pending. But this also prompted, there is another provision in the Code of Conduct, that is Article 5 of it, where a judge may not see publicity. But a lot of judges started saying, well, allegations are made against us, what do we do? So we all thought that if a clarification is issued by a judge, there's nothing wrong in it. But some of the judges said, but someone may construe it as a violation of Article 5. So anyway, for a clarification, the last time the Code of Conduct was enacted was 2009. We have made the Supreme Judicial Council an amendment addition to Article 5, which is, however, if an allegation is publicized against a judge, he may respond to it. Because the Supreme Court cannot respond to a personal allegation made against a judge. So let the person do so himself. So this is something which has been done with the assistance of my learned colleague. A few things about his personality: an excellent temperament, very fair-minded. He mentioned the reference filed against me and did not sit on it. If the reference has succeeded, he would have been the Chief Justice of Pakistan. So just demonstrating his fairness. And let me clarify, like I said, I really did not know Sardar Sahib till I got to know him in this court. A man of humility. He does not demand respect, he commands it. He helped me in my work as the Chief Justice. I will miss him. He would be very candid in his opinion, plain, honest speaking, no fudging around, straightforward. If he didn't agree with me, he would say it. He has a very charming wife, and he has mentioned that she has been a source of great strength, and his other members. And I learned only yesterday, I met someone and I said, "Who are you?" I had not seen him. He said, "He's a lawyer." He said, "I'm his son-in-law." So this fact that nobody knew about it, and even I did not know about it, also reflects on his conduct, that if someone in your family is a lawyer, but someone should not be misusing his position because of his connection with a judge. So considering it was a surprise to me, and I thought I'm pretty well informed and I didn't even know. So one can go on and on about what a fine person Justice Sardar Tariq Masood is, and who has a fine family, and I'm very happy that they have supported him throughout, and I'm sure he'll find time to support them. So all of you have said wonderful things about him. If I can, I mean, in the couplet of a song, "Abhi na jao chhod ke, ki dil abhi bhara nahi." I think all of you have said that. But all good things must come to an end. I just want to respond to a few of the other comments. The President has mentioned senior advocates. Supreme Court have not been thing. And here, yes, whilst we have not done so, he is also at fault. We had met, I think, Sardar Sahab and me, with the representative of Supreme Court Bar Association. We said we may not know all the lawyers, at least can you give us some names also? So that list is still awaited from your end. President, if you don't mind me reminding you, it's not that your list will be what will prevail with us, because this is all the judges have to meet and decide. But at least we'll know, we may not know all of them in particular fields. So the matter of vacancies will be attended to. As regards amendments made to the CPC, I don't quite know what has not been implemented, but this is really a matter with the provinces, and I'm sure if it's taken up with the Chief Justices of the respective courts, as you know, they are independent, the high courts are independent, I'm sure they will attend to it. The matter of senior advocates, I should also state that seniors must be assisted by juniors. This benefits, I think, the senior. It also benefits the junior, and it prepares someone, makes someone a good advocate, which he may not have. In the concept in England, which is not here, is that seniors there are referred to, you take silk, you start wearing your gown becomes a silk gown and you become a previously Queen's Counsel and now King's Counsel, is you must engage a counsel junior with you. Many don't want to become seniors for this reason. So here I would, though it's not part of the rules, but I would encourage seniors to also encourage juniors, because that will develop their capacity and it will undoubtedly help the seniors. So that's a request. It's not an order, if you don't mind. I think, is there any other issue that was vacancies case? Yes, the fortnightly list. This is the demand I'm hearing for the first time. We will certainly consider it. I've always encouraged both the Pakistan Bar Council and the Supreme Court Bar Council, do not just mention something to me in a meeting. You may say it, I may forget it. Write it to me. If it's not attended to, send a reminder. So now today's day belongs to Sardar Sahab, so I will once again thank him for all the help, both on my behalf and on behalf of my colleagues. And if I can do it on your behalf, the council, all the cases that he decided and reduced your burden, our burden, and made the Supreme Court a little more efficient. Thank you very much.
I seek permission of the Honorable Chief Justice to conclude the proceedings. The ceremony is concluded. Thank you for your participation. The guests are requested to proceed for the refreshments.
मुल्तान की आग इनमें रस कुछ अलग सा। नेस्ले फ्रूट वाइटल्स पाकिस्तान से।
बैठ मैं छोड़ दे, मैं कर लेता हूँ, छोड़ दे, बैठ, मैं कर लेता हूँ। आई हैव गॉन थ्रू। आप मुझे बता दीजिएगा जब तक हैदराबाद का ये कागज मुझे दे। हाँ हाँ, ये लेने मुझे दे दीजिएगा बाद में। मेरा नाम भाई कंफर्म नहीं हो रहा जो आए हैं अभी।